So I want you to select the sequence layout instead of the single sample layout. Now that opens up my sequence table in the right-hand panel. So you'll notice immediately above the sequence table, which might look very familiar to many of you for both EasyChrome and ChemStation, immediately above the action column, there is an icon that has a filled-in black row underneath some blank rows. That is to fill in another line in my sequence table. So I can click on that icon and click on it a half a dozen, maybe 7 times, and it fills in lines into my sequence table. Now notice that those lines are filled in identically, which means that, for instance, my vial position is all vial position number 1. But if I click on the very first vial position number 1 and then right mouse click, select the fill down, which is third from the bottom of that right clicked menu structure, it's going to automatically increment for me 1 through 7. Now this increment is going to be based on the type of autosampler I have in my system. So for instance, if you are a person that has a well plate autosampler, you can start your well plate autosampler with P1A01. And then if you right mouse click and select fill down, it's going to automatically increment in that fashion. If you are a person that has an external tray for a GC, for instance, you can start with 101 and it will automatically increment down to 101 to 107, etc. In this case, this is an old style 100 vial tray autosampler, period. That's why it goes from 1 to 7. Now notice our acquisition method column is currently red. It's red because it's trying to call your attention to the fact that in order to run any type of injections, I need an acquisition method. So if I click on the first field, there's a pull-down menu and I can select Browse. I can then select the acquisition method we just created in the previous exercise and click Open. Now I can do that for all of the other lines, but that's kind of ridiculous because instead I can right mouse click inside of that first field and select Fill Down. That's automatically going to fill down all of that information for me so I don't have to do it again. Then we have field names for sample names and for data file. Again, notice there's that right-facing arrow to the right of each one of those. That means that there are software tokens I can use to help name these sample names and these data file names. So maybe I would like to name it my short acquisition date and time along with a sequence line number for my sample name. Then I'm going to use the right-facing arrow and fill that down. And I'm going to, for my data file name, use the right-facing arrow, and it's going to be the same as my sample name. And once again, right mouse click and fill down. So one of the things we have tried to do is make it a little bit easier, a little less time-consuming to start creating these sequences. I'm going to show you 2 additional ways that you can create a sequence that cannot be done in either OpenLab CDS ChemStation or OpenLab CDS EasyChrome. And these are very, very much time-saving activities.